Section 40. The fate of the Gospels was decided by death, if hung on the cross. It was only death, that unexpected and shameful death, which was usually reserved for the canaille only. It was only this appalling paradox which brought the disciples face to face with the real riddle. Who was it? What was it? The feeling of dismay, of profound affront and injury, the suspicion that such a death might involve a refutation of their cause, the terrible question, why just in this way, this state of mind is only too easy to understand. Here everything must be accounted for as necessary, everything must have a meaning, a reason, the highest sort of reason. The love of a disciple excludes all chance. Only then did the chasm of doubt yawn. Who put him to death? Who was his natural enemy? This question flashed like a lightning stroke. Answer: dominant Judaism, its ruling class. From that moment one found oneself in revolt against the established order, and began to understand Jesus as in revolt against the established order. Until then this militant, this naysaying, nay-doing element in his character had been lacking. What is more, he had appeared to present its opposite. Obviously the little community had not understood what was precisely the most important thing of all, the example offered by this way of dying, the freedom from and superiority to every feeling of ressentiment, a plain indication of how little he was understood at all. All that Jesus could hope to accomplish by his death, in itself, was to offer the strongest possible proof, or example, of his teachings in the most public manner. But his disciples were very far from forgiving his death, though to have done so would have accorded with the Gospels in the highest degree, and neither were they prepared to offer themselves with gentle and serene calmness of heart for a similar death. On the contrary, it was precisely the most unevangelical of feelings, revenge, that now possessed them. It seemed impossible that the cause should perish with his death. Recompense and judgment became necessary. Yet what could be less evangelical than recompense, punishment, and sitting in judgment? Once more the popular belief in the coming of a Messiah appeared in the foreground. Attention was riveted upon an historical moment: the kingdom of God is to come, with judgment upon his enemies. But in all this there was a wholesale misunderstanding. Imagine the kingdom of God as a last act, as a mere promise. The Gospels had been, in fact, the incarnation, the fulfillment, the realization of this kingdom of God. It was only now that all the familiar contempt for and bitterness against Pharisees and theologians began to appear in the character of the Master. He was thereby turned into a Pharisee and theologian himself. On the other hand, the savage veneration of these completely unbalanced souls could no longer endure the gospel doctrine taught by Jesus, of the equal right of all men to be children of God. Their revenge took the form of elevating Jesus in an extravagant fashion, and thus separating him from themselves, just as, in earlier times, the Jews, to revenge themselves upon their enemies, separated themselves from their God, and placed him on a great height. The one God, and the only Son of God, both were products of ressentiment.